crystal ball, crystal ball. So when does the This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised. Good morning everybody, and welcome to another blustery morning here in the low veld of sunny South Africa. It will hopefully be sunny, but it is certainly windy today. My name is James Hendry, and we have got Sebastian Ramby, the greatest French Gabonese Air Force pilot in history, on the back. It is well that I mention his name today, because I'm not sure if you saw our little Facebook Live broadcast from about 40 minutes ago or so. He managed to find us Tlalamba with the use of Thelma the drone, and that was very exciting. Byron got in there for a quick sighting of her. We're not going to go and try and find her again, because I don't think that Thandi was around, so Thandi was probably off hunting. Please talk to us during the course of the show using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Otherwise you can use the chat stream on YouTube. Is there anything else I have to tell you? No, I think that's about it. Yes, the weather. The weather is foul. I would put it roughly, I would say roughly 12 degrees Celsius or so, excluding wind chill factor. You must not believe Google's weather reports. They are unquestionably untrue in this particular area. Probably about 12 degrees Celsius or so, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is around about 56 degrees Fahrenheit odd, plus minus. Okay, now we have got 3 people out today. Me, Steph, Baron, and, well, me, Steph, Baron, that's 3. Yes, the 3 of us are out here today. And our plan is just to sort of see what's happening around the Buffelshoek Dam area. We know where Tlalamba is, we don't know where Thandi is, so we could go and look for her. We'll just see what tracks there are on the ground. There were some elephants here, we heard them earlier, and there's some tracks on the ground. So with any luck, we'll bump into them. That would be very exciting. I feel like there's something I should have told you, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, welcome along for the ride. Now, as I said, I don't think this. I said yesterday morning that I thought the cold front had passed us by, but it clearly has not, because it's still quite windy, chilly breeze. Maybe it'll pass us by today. Yesterday afternoon was particularly blustery and unpleasant. But I long for those beautiful winter's mid-mornings when the air is still and the sun is out. It's just very warming and pleasant to be out here in the Lowveld. The Lowveld, for those of you who are perhaps new viewers, is the low-lying area to the eastern side of the northern Drakensberg, if that means much to you. You can Google all that if you like. But basically it means that we are no more in this particular area above 450 meters. We are no more than 450 meters above sea level, which is about 1,300 feet or so. And the escarpment, which is the Drakensberg Mountains, rises off to the west of us and goes up onto the Highveld, or the highlands, and they go up to 2,000 meters above sea level, which is exactly 6,500 feet. That's the highest town in South Africa. That's called Belfast. It's a charmless place. You don't want to visit there. There are some charming places around it, but it itself is a very charmless place. And there's the highlands, where it'll be a lot colder than it is here, and they sometimes get snow there, which is of course unusual in this part of the world. If you haven't seen or been with us before and didn't know who Thandi and Tlalamba were, they are 2 leopards who we spend a lot of time with. Thandi, 13-year-old female, Tlalamba, her 8-month-old cub, and that's who Byron found earlier today.
Good morning, my name is Byron, and on camera with me this morning is Jandre. And yes, indeed, we did find that young Tlalamba, which was very, very exciting. It worked so well with the drone and the FLIR camera. It was amazing. You know, I think Seb and James did a great job of finding that young leopard, and then myself and Jandre got in there. So I hope most of you got to see that. It was exciting, really, really exciting, and amazing technology that we have at our fingertips now. That young Tlalamba was a little nervous, I think, just with the drone around, but not too bad. We eventually decided we'd rather leave her alone and let her rest. What was interesting, though, and I only found this out now recently, is James was saying he thinks there are 2 thermal readings in that area, 2 heat signatures. And we thought there might be another leopard, but we didn't see anyone. What happened, we think, and Steph confirmed it earlier, is that there was possibly 2 termite mounds, 2 little termite mounds that were close to one another, and the leopard Tlalamba was lying on top of one for warmth. And you can imagine that makes perfect sense. They get to about 30 degrees, 32 degrees Celsius. So there's a lot of warmth coming off of that termite mound. So it's very interesting. We think that possibly, got a little scrub here, heading back to sleep for the day. Have a look just up ahead. There we go. So they've been quite active during the night, and most likely going to go and find a little spot to rest for the day. It is quite chilly this morning. Not too bad actually, but it is quite chilly. So get last little bit of food before the scrubby goes and rests in a thicket somewhere. So as I was saying, that very interesting that young leopard chose to go and lie on that little chimney of the termite mound. So yeah, it makes perfect sense though for warmth. Very, very clever. So that's what we think was going on there, and that's possibly why James picked up 2 thermal readings. We did not see another leopard around there. There's another scrub hare in the road. It's just come out. I think that's why it startled that one. There we go. Now, Andy, you say with the thermal camouflage, we've got to triple check those hot spots. Indeed, it's interesting. And I heard somewhere, when I was reading, occasionally people who have tried to do thermal work on the ground, and they've got specific binoculars with thermal imagery, it doesn't work out as well, because they'd be walking through the bush and they'd think they'd see something, but it may be a rock or a termite mound that's giving off a lot of heat. Obviously, rocks maintain warmth during the course of the evening, so they still give off a lot of heat. So they might think it's an elephant or a buffalo or rhino somewhere. Meanwhile, it's just a rock. So it is tricky with those heat signatures at times. So I'm trying to work out what our plan is for this morning. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what... sorry. Let's quickly go to... Someone's got a honey badger.
Are we live? Okay. Everyone, I'm not sure how long you've been with us. We had a honey badger there. Just came trotting across the road. Looked pretty relaxed. Ridiculous sighting. This is like the 3rd sighting in 3 or 4 days of these spectacular little animals. It's frustrating to stop, but I think we should, because they don't sit for vehicles. Not there, hey?
No, he started climbing up here.
Yeah.
He went down on the other side.
Let's try quickly. This one was even prettier than the last one we had. There he is.
Where?
He's still there. Other side of the mound. He's just gone through there.
Oh yeah, okay, I see him.
Back, forward.
Forward. Yeah.
There he is.
Stay there.
There he is. He's right here. I think he's digging for something. He's there. He's behind there.
Yeah.
He's digging. No, he's right there. He's foraging there. I'm going to go forward, Seb.
Yeah. Yeah.
There he is.
Stay there.
He's eating. You got him. I can see him.
Yeah, there he is. I've got him.
This is fantastic. Wonder what he's got. Isn't this amazing? People, this just doesn't happen. I mean, we've had literally 3 in about a week. I'm going to try and shift again. Obviously don't want to hit anything and make a noise, but really it'd be nice to see what he's eating. Oh, this is going to be perfect.
Yes, there.
How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a den here, Arla Ramua. I don't think this is don't we call it a set for badgers? It might only be British badgers that we call it a set. I think he's digging for beetles or beetle larvae, or I mean they often get dung beetle larvae, or for termites maybe. With termites, you know, they don't have the tongue to try and eat termites. They'll eat anything, any piece of meat they can get. Could be a tortoise. You know, he might have found a little burrow for a speaks-hinged tortoise, perhaps. Oh, look at you. You are a magical animal. You are a magical creature. Don't worry about us. You carry on. This is the best honey badger sighting we've ever had. Just carry on, buddy. Don't worry about us. You just keep digging. We're not moving. I cannot believe how relaxed this badger is. This does not happen. Just does not happen. I mean, I'm just trying to think what it could be digging for in there. They've got these immense claws. But what it could be looking for, maybe a tortoise. They've got jaws powerful enough to eat a tortoise. Certainly a speaks-hinged tortoise. Don't worry about us, just ignore us. We're just sitting here enjoying you. This is a lengthy honey badger sighting. Welcome to those of you who've just joined us here from the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. We've got a very exotic sighting here, and that is of a honey badger. Honey badgers are rare in so much as we don't see them. We see their tracks all over the place, but we seldom actually see them doing anything because they don't normally sit for us. My name's James Hendry. Don't worry about me. You can send us any questions you like on the comments section. And let's just marvel at this utterly astonishing little creature. They're extremely intelligent. See, the honey badger's name is James Hendry. That's wonderful. They're very intelligent, very vicious, in so much as very little will take them on. You know, they'll stand up to lions, they'll stand up to anything that attacks them. They not go down without a fight. And I mean, they problem solve. They're known as tremendously effective problem solving mammals. So this is great stuff. Now, what I think he's doing, he's looking for something to eat. But what that is, I don't know. And there he goes. I'm not sure. You know what, he's actually so relatively relaxed that I think we might actually try and follow him. We don't normally do this in the vehicle because they don't normally sit for us for any length of time. He's going around the front, is he?
Yes.
Can you still see him?
Yeah.
I'm unsighted.
Okay, no, I don't have it, but he's
So if we go dead straight, see if we can see him again. Well, Carol, I suspect they're probably more crepuscular than nocturnal, but yes, they are active at night. And you'll probably find the less predator activity there is, the more active they'll be during the day. There he goes. Yeah. So by crepuscular, I mean that he'll be active dawn and dusk. He's just in front of us there. Unfortunately, for us to drive through this bush without making a noise that'll frighten him, I think it's going to be difficult. We might just get one last view. And of course, because he doesn't have experience of vehicles, they do completely relax. You can actually almost tame them. But because he doesn't have large of vehicle experience, he will be nervous of the car moving around him. But this experience that he's just had with us moving around him and not causing any harm will be good for the next person that sees him. There he is, straight in front of us. Straight over the top of my head. No, Matthew, you would not want to mess with this son of a gun. He is not to be trifled with lightly. They have a temper on them that makes, who's famed for having a bad temper, makes me look like a very gentle and pleasant person. Try one more view. I think we'll be very lucky to get him again. You got him? Forward?
No, yeah. Forward. Is that the base of that tree there? Yeah, stop it. Is that the base of that tree?
Oh, well spotted. Digging again. Right here. Close by. Let's wait here. We're not going to go any closer for now. What do you think, Seb?
No, I think let's wait.
I think let's wait here. We're about 30 meters from him, 100 feet odd. Shamsan, the social structure here is solitary animals. Yeah. And if you do see more than one honey badger, you're either seeing a mating pair or you're seeing a mother and her youngsters, her pups. Gone, eh?
Yeah.
He's relaxed, you know. It's probably worth trying again. This way.
Yeah, towards 1 o'clock from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, see him, he's at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? Stopped or moving?
Yeah, he's moving. Keep going.
Yeah.
There he is. Okay, keep going.
Sebastian's just a little bit higher than me, so he can see a little bit more.
Try and go around now, around this mahula like this.
To the right.
Yeah, to the right. He's over there. 3 o'clock from us. He's going parallel with us now. We should meet him there. Stop here. We should come across somewhere here. Turn a little bit.
Get a little bit forward.
Yeah.
In Vatuni, this is slightly north of the sighting we had 2 nights ago. Could be the same animal, but it's quite a long way north actually. About a kilometre or so, kilometre and a half. Yeah. I think that's probably it, everyone. It's around about 12 degrees Celsius or so, 54 or so Fahrenheit at the moment, everyone, for those of you who are asking. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we're going to find him again. I don't want to harass him, obviously. We want to try and be as sensitive as possible so the next time that he sees a vehicle he doesn't freak out, which he hasn't today. Absolutely fantastic. Good. But if you want to keep on watching the safari, we've got Steph and Byron out, one on foot, one in a vehicle. We're going to be live until 8:30, and you can just Google SafariLive to find the best platform on which you can watch the rest of the show. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time of the day it is, wherever you are. Okay, everybody, wasn't that great? Oh, fantastic. I may sound slightly disappointed. That's because I didn't manage to get an illegal picture of him that was worth anything. Let's go across now to the great Stefan van der Boer, who is on foot again, this time with David Eastaugh.
Envious and very happy for you, in fact, to have seen that, and in particular with James, who I think would be able to tell you some cool stories about it. My name is Stefan Tubu. We are on camera today with David, and we have just been enjoying the most amazing sunrise. Just have a look at that. Now, for those of you who like taking your shots of the day or your sunrise picture or whatever it is of the day, David is the best at framing up these particular scenes. You know, and having something like this on your phone or on your tablet or whatever, just to remind you of all the good things that can happen, is not such a bad idea. All right, our plan for today is basically to walk east. That's what we left the camp with. We're going to be walking east and seeing what we can find. Now, east is a series of one big river plus a whole lot of feeder streams into it. The streams are all dry at this time of the year, but the vegetation around those streams is very thick and very lush and very good value. And so we probably will bump into things like elephant, maybe some nyala, kudu, leopard, hyena, lion, are all animals that frequent these types of thickets and these habitats. And so hopefully that is what we can show you today. Amongst other things. But before that, awesome honey badger runs away from James. Here we go.
We found him again, and he's charging us. He's very cross. I'm sorry about the bar. He's behind us, and I want to move the car and give him a fright. He's so cross. We don't want, of course, is for him to make that foul smell that they can make. He's digging. Well, I mean, what is he, Seb? He's about a metre and a half behind us. I'm sorry about the aerial and all of that, but if I move now, he's going to run. This is unbelievable. Well, yeah, let's try. Emma's just saying, should we do another unscheduled broadcast? I don't see why not.
It's just
the view is dreadful, though. No, wait, Em, wait. He's got something. What did he catch? Yeah, he's definitely got something in his mouth. We'll go around.
Go around now.
Still moving, still running. You can try. I'm not guaranteeing anything though. Huge hole here, sorry. I'm just talking to Emma, who's our director, obviously. You don't want to... At the Marula. Malika, no, not really. They've just got a sort of angry snort and a growl. Oh, there he is.
I could get a shot from
yeah. Let me just hang on. I think I've got him. And
bit more. Okay.
I think we'll probably keep round. There's a little opening here. This is just utterly spectacular. Yeah, he's got him.
Yeah.
No. Him, it's really up to you. I don't know if we'll get a good view of him again. We might. Yeah. Let's just keep following him. I mean, he or she is very tolerant of us as long as we stay a certain distance. And I mean, that thing was 1.5 meters from us when we spotted him again. You see where he went?
I think he's somewhere around there, huh?
Go this way. Big logs up ahead. Joshua, they are honey badgers, unsurprisingly, because they like honey. And the great story, one of the great sort of natural history stories of Africa is the story of the honey guide. And you'll excuse me not looking at you while I try and see the honey badger. Is, well, there's a steenbok. It's just, can't see the badger. Joshua, so what happens is that this bird called the honey guide will find a badger like this, make a special call. The badger will then follow the honey guide to a beehive where he will break it open. He'll eat the honey and the honey guide will eat the bee larvae. And that's the sort of, that's why he's called a honey badger, because he has this love of honey, as do most of us. You got him. Sebastian, you're on fire this morning.
He's over there. Okay, stop.
Oh, this, I've got him. That's him.
I'm trying to find him.
That's him. You got him.
Where?
Little
There,
screen. Yeah. Tony Two Toes, how you doing? You say you think I'm the honey badger's spirit animal. I think I'd like to be the honey badger's spirit animal. I'd like to have the honey badger as my own spirit animal. Thank you, Tony Two Toes. It's been a long time since I heard from you, Tony, but it's good to have you back. Eating something. He's always eating something behind a stick. Em, you need to make that call. You know that we may or may not be able to keep up with him. You got him still.
Forward and second to your right.
So every time I'm talking to Emma, she's just trying to decide whether or not to go to an unscheduled Facebook Live broadcast. But it's a difficult call to make because, of course, we don't know if we're going to see him again. So we go live to the National Geographic main page, and suddenly all we've got is a couple of sticks to show people, which is not exactly ideal. But we could get the badger digging again right in front of us. And Byron apparently is very jealous. Well, that's fair enough. He probably should be. Byron's a little bit like a badger himself. wash your heads here, everybody, as the sun comes up. Oh,
yeah, okay.
Got him.
4 o'clock from us.
4 o'clock from us.
Do you see him over there? Walking towards behind us. Yeah, I've got him.
I see him not.
I've got him.
Ah, yes. There's something so utterly amusing about them. Okay, I'm going to move. Ali, I think the only way to tell the difference is that the male is bigger than the female. But other than that, they're exactly the same. They're both equally as cantankerous, equally able to solve problems, and they all look exactly the same. I think the male's just slightly larger than the female. Yeah. On the other side?
No, on that side, yeah, on the right hand side, yeah. Maybe a bit forward and stop. Last time I saw him, he was here, 1 o'clock from here.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is,
Right here. Sorry, fellow.
Stop here.
You got him?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we keep our distance like this and don't get too close, I'm pretty sure he'll allow us to get closer and closer. Where is he now?
Yeah, there, over there.
There we are, got him, yeah. He's there. He's just gone underground a bit. I can hear him. Let's move. Well, Michael, they are very similar, aren't they, in many respects, to Tasmanian devils? There he is. Certainly in temperament. I don't think they're biologically closely related at all. Come on now, come closer. He's just on the end of that log, that's it. I don't know what family the Tasmanian devil falls into. He is the same family, of course, as the wolverine. That's what I'm going for. He's trotting through straight past the front of us. Just hear him going over the dry leaves. Shall I move a bit? I'm pretty sure this is the same badger they saw the other day. I'll tell you why. Is that Rexon and Jors from Buffelshoek, who's a landowner, here we are, followed him for a long time with 2 vehicles. I've never been able to do that with a badger before. There he is. This is extremely exciting. We're going to stay with this badger, but Byron has managed to find a character that we have not seen in this area since the Miocene epoch.
Well, James, I'm very, very jealous of your honey badger sighting, but we have managed to find some lions. Have a look, and I think this is the Nkuhuma Pride. Oh, this is wonderful. I have not seen these lions for quite some time. have a look. Maybe all of you can just double check and confirm for me, but I do believe this is them. Isn't this wonderful? And we've managed to get them nice and early, so they're still moving around. It is still cool, and hopefully these lions will be interested in potentially hunting something. So we're going to stick with them and follow them for a while. But this is a wonderful, wonderful surprise. Here comes another lioness just walking across. Oh, it's wonderful. Look. There we go. I'm sure a lot of you are really excited to see the lions again. This is fantastic. So as I said, they do seem very active, possibly going to try and hunt and see if they do catch something. There's one or two vehicles that are here too, watching these lions. That'll make it easier for us to follow them and see where they go. But luckily we're not too far from the road, so we'll just bounce off here quickly, or out of here onto the road, follow these lions. Oh dear, let's just watch out. Jandre, can we squeeze? Give us a second. Now apparently there was reports of new cubs with this pride. Now I haven't seen any yet, and if there are new cubs, I doubt they would be moving around with the pride just yet. So, but we'll have a look out and we'll see. But I don't think there are any new cubs. Who knows? Doesn't look like it. Here they come. Yeah, they come. Oh, we're gonna look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count 6 lions at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Seven lions that I can count here now. Now, Linda, you ask, would the lions eat a honey badger? I'll just watch that lion stretching and cleaning its claws on the branches. Linda, you know what? Yes, if they managed to catch a honey badger, they would eat it. But the thing is, a honey badger is incredibly tough, very, very powerful, and also tenacious. I'm just going to move forward a little bit for us again. These lions are going to come out on the road in front of us. And what happens, Linda, is those honey badgers do give off a chemical defense, a bad scent that often deters animals. Very sharp claws. They'll scratch, they'll claw their way. And I have seen honey badgers stand off a pride of lions before. Okay, let's quickly go back to James and that honey badger.
Yes, there he is, still, if you can believe it, fossicking about, now not more than 3 meters or 3 or 4 meters from us, which is about 15 feet or so. Not sure what he's digging for, but he's been digging around here for some time. So we haven't moved since you last saw us. We've just waited quietly here with him to see if he doesn't pop his head out. Hello everybody, just joining us now on the Nat Geo main page on Facebook Live. It's wonderful to have you with us. My name is James Hendry. I'm talking to you from the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. And astoundingly, over there we have got a honey badger, not a creature we see very often out here. Fascinating carnivore that eats just about any piece of meat that moves. It doesn't even have to be moving. And normally we don't get anything like this sort of a view of a honey badger. This is a tremendously, tremendously special sighting. Please talk to us. You can ask us any questions you like. send us any comments. See, he knows I'm talking about him now. So this carnivore is part of a group of animals known as the mustelids. So he belongs to the same family as the skunks. But he's a lot more terrifying than the skunk for many creatures because he's utterly fearless. He can make a nasty smell, but his main defense is his belligerent nature. Big teeth, loose skin, which means anything that tries to get hold of him will really struggle. They have the ability to process snake venom, so they can be bitten by snakes, go to sleep for a while, and survive completely intact. And we just don't see them very often here. We see their tracks, their diggings all over the place, but we seldom see them. And this fellow is tremendously confiding. Look at him. Oh, this is fantastic. He's looking for any buried grub, scorpions, that sort of thing. It could easily, Mr. Public, be looking for rodents in their burrows. They'll eat eggs, spiders. They'll scavenge sometimes from carcasses. And they are truly the least discreet animals that I've ever seen moving through this landscape. They make a huge noise. Judy H., we don't see them very often because they are normally extremely shy. They're normally nocturnal as well, so to find one out in the day like this is unusual. And they are shy. But for this one, this particular chap seems to be tremendously confiding. Here they come, he's coming back now. There he goes. Just going from rootstock to rootstock, possibly looking for rodents, but most likely invertebrates, scorpions, spiders, grubs. Tremendous sighting. Doing a little bit more digging. Shall we move slightly round? See if we can't get another view. He's being so confiding that it's worth us just trying to get another view before we let you go on with whatever it is that you're doing today or tonight, whatever you happen to be watching in the world. There he goes. Like I say, we're in the Western Kruger National Park. And while you do see these things relatively frequently in a place like the Kalahari Desert, where they tend to be more active during the day, and I think that's because of the lack of other nocturnal predators like lions, leopards and hyenas, here they're almost exclusively nocturnal or crepuscular. He's right here. Yeah, he's right there. You may just be able to hear him scratching about in the leaf litter. Crunch, crunch, crunch. All right, for those of you who have just joined us, we're going to leave you now. You can, of course, keep watching our safari until 8:30 Central African Time. You just go to YouTube, type in SafariLive. We've got Byron with lions. Steph is on foot tracking leopards, and we're going to sit here with this honey badger. Alrighty, we're going to stay right here with Mr. Honey Badger. Byron's got a good view of the Ininka Puma Pride.
We do have a wonderful view of the lions at the moment. They're all sitting in the road. There's something caught their attention up ahead. I can't seem to see anything, but they are very, very curious. Oh, it's so wonderful to see this pride again. I haven't seen the Nkuhumas for quite some time, so it's lovely. They're all looking really, really good. I haven't had a good look at the females yet. I'm trying to see because, as I mentioned, there was that update that we got that there are some new cubs. So trying to see if we can see which female is potentially lactating. Who's the mother of the cubs? Apparently it is Amber Eyes that is the mother of the cubs. So we'll have a look and see if she's here. As I said, there's 7 lions here at the moment. Some just hiding in the grass there. There's a young male at the back here. But those are females in the front there. Might just see the vehicle having a view of the lions. We will follow them for a while and get different views of them. You can see everybody's really bundled up. And see the tracker on the front of the vehicle. He's really bundled up. Can't tell who that is. We'll try and reposition quickly and see if we can't get another view of these lions. I'm just going to sneak off the side here. I'm still so jealous and amazed at that honey badger sighting that James has had. The longest sighting I've had of honey badgers maybe 3 minutes, and then they've disappeared. So to see one and follow it for so long is incredible. I'm going to have a look and see where James saw that honey badger and spend the rest of my drives around there. I haven't seen honey badger for ages. Sorry, Jandre, just trying to get around here quickly. As I said, this is really exciting to see the Nkuhuma Pride too. Last time I was here, we did see lions, but I think it was the Talamati Pride that we saw. So nice to see the Pride that we see regularly, or have seen regularly, on SafariLive. Not sure when last we saw them here, though. I have to try to find out. Maybe some of our viewers can tell us when last we saw the Nkuhuma Pride. Now they're heading down towards the drainage line. Hold on, we'll get a view of them now. Look at that. That's really a wonderful sighting. Watching them all move through the grass. You can see how beautifully camouflaged they are at the moment. In winter, these brown, rich brown colors just help with the camouflage of a lot of these predators. Now, they did stop here for a while and they were very, very curious, staring in that direction that they're moving. So I'm not sure if they possibly saw something. Hopefully they did. Also moving in through the thicker areas. Sorry, I'm just thinking, saying that with them moving through thickets like this, it's easier for them to flush potential food or prey and try and hunt. So I think let's try to follow them. We're going to follow them through here. And Emma just told me that the last time we've got on our records that we saw the Nkuhuma Pride was around the 6th of May. Was it 6th of May or did she say 6th of June? Oh, sorry, 6th of June. 6th of June, okay. So, but that's still, it's a month ago. That's amazing. Hold on, let's quickly go back to James, that honey badger.
There is the Badger, behaving himself beautifully for us. We've now got a front-on look, so if he turns his head, if he lifts his head, we're going to get a great view of his head. And this funny little cap that he has over the top of his head, which I think makes him look very amusing. sure why my sound is muffled. Is that a bit better?
Yeah, sounds better now.
Sorry about that. It is underneath a beanie, so I think it shifts a bit from time to time. Isn't that wonderful, seeing his face? Now, while he's tremendously cute looking, as Emma says, but he's not to be trifled with, as we've mentioned. Is he moving?
Yeah, I think it's towards us.
Yeah. Oh, I can see shuffling trees there. I'm most excited that the Nkuhuma Pride is back. Yes, I'm glad you're all raving about Seb's camera work. I'm fair raving about it too, but mostly I'm raving about the fact that he keeps spotting the badger again. Camera is one thing, but when you've got nothing to film... At 12 o'clock, yeah, right there. Oh, I'm just going to give him a little chance to relax. We got quite close to him there. If we get him in some nice light, this will be very pretty. He really does seem to be pretty unaffected by us.
Yeah.
You can hear him there. Let's try and go through this little gap. No, that little gap there, see? Never too late, he'd tear a human apart. So yes, absolutely he would bite a human. If you tried to catch a wild honey badger with your hands, you would...
Yeah, he's right at 12 over there now.
You'd be torn to pieces. Keep going.
He's going a bit left. So yeah, keep going straight.
Okay. They are known, never too late, for going for the sensitive bits between the legs of animals that incur their wrath. 12, you say?
Now 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. In here. Got him? Yeah, right here, right here. Certainly the longest honey badger sighting I've ever had, by some margin. Henko, I don't know, it depends on the situation. No, I don't think a honey badger is more dangerous to a human being. If you know, I don't think a honey badger would try and scavenge on you in the night. But if you attacked it, it would be deeply, deeply dangerous. But they wouldn't. I mean, I would not be vaguely afraid to see one on foot. I wouldn't be afraid that it would attack me. I can see him there. You know, and I wouldn't be afraid that a hyena would attack me on foot in the day either. So whereas a hyena at night time might see a human being as prey, the honey badger would not.
That's true, because living under that tree over there. So go
Around here, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Seb just asking if this is the same marula tree he came to earlier. It might be. We've been driving around in figure eights through here.
Yeah, he's over there now. So it looks like he's going away from us. So keep going.
Just keep going straight.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously relatively far. If this is the same badger as we had before, you know, he's a fair distance from where he was. I'd say about 2 kilometers. Just over a mile. Still got him. Yeah, he is. He's done a couple of circles.
He's at 1 o'clock from you.
Still moving.
Yeah.
Done a couple of circles around this area. I have no sight of him.
He was going towards that tree there.
Towards that tree, okay.
I think he's on.
Oh, there he is. He's just at 1 o'clock there. You got him? Yeah, there he is.
Go, let's keep going straight then.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we'll keep up with this chap as long as we can. Let's go back to the lions for now.
I still cannot believe James's luck this morning with that honey badger. It must be one of the best honey badger sightings I've ever heard of. So I'm really, really jealous. Anyway, we're still sitting with the beautiful Nkuma Pride. They spread out a little bit, and they are laying down, resting, I think warming up in the sun. You can see the morning light just coming through at the moment. So really warming things up, and there's a number of them dotted around. There's one through the back there. There's another one you can just see in front of us. And this is typical behavior of lions, to move around, go and start looking for food early in the mornings. It is still cool, so I do think they're going to be moving around for quite some time. I can hear a lot of grey go-away birds alarm calling in front of me. I do think one or two of the lions moved further down in the front, but there are still some dotted around here and just through this thicket in front of us. Look at this. It's a lovely view. Now, apparently, some of you are questioning to see if this is the Nkuma Pride. We'll just double check. As I said, we've seen 7 lions in this group. I'm not too sure about the Torchwood or the Talamati Pride, how many lions they've got in them at the moment. I did see 1 or 2 young males in this group. Kalina, you asking if there is a lion with an injured hip around in this pride? I haven't seen one yet, to be honest. Unfortunately, they were moving in front of us. And didn't really get a look at each one clearly. So we'll have a look and we'll just see what we can find. And try and get a closer view of some of the others. Maybe give you some facial shots of these lions. And just move forward a little bit. Try to see where these others are going, and as I said, if they are hunting, that'll be really exciting. It's nice and thick through here, so it's a perfect area to potentially flush some animals. Now it looks like the whole pride is I'm just moving forward here a little bit. Hold on. Hold on, just getting a nice view of these lions from this angle. Just let me know when you can see them, Jandre. Is that right? There we go. Look at that. This might help us a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of blood on the back of this one's neck. Do you see that? Maybe they fed on something small during the course of the evening. Maybe it's a little scratch. Here comes a yawn. Beautiful. So maybe these views help all of you. Some of you are saying this could potentially be the Talamati pride. So let's just double check. Let's make sure before we jump to conclusions. Originally, because I saw the large group, I thought it must be the Nkuma pride. But it appears as though there are some young males in this group. I actually think that is a young male there. There's 1, 2, it looks like, that I can see. You can see that beautiful light coming through now. All right, I'm going to sit with these lions a little bit longer and see what they get up to. But let's go across to Steph, who is on bushwalk, and find out how his morning's going.
The morning's going fine, thank you very much. Obviously not as good as yours is, with honey badgers and lion to look at, which is pretty epic. But now, most of the time we don't get to see lions. Most of the time we just get to see what sign they leave in their passing. And I've got something here to show you of what happens when a lion has fed on something, like Byron is saying with those lions. This is some regurgitation that we're looking at. Now, keratin, which is what makes up fur, this is fur, and what makes up hoof, this is a hoof, is undigestible largely. So in a lion's haste to gulp down as much food as he can before his brother, sister, auntie or uncle gets there first, they have to swallow everything. The tummy then digests the meat, and in their tummy a bolus of undigestible matter is formed that the lion then regurgitates up in a ball. That then gets deposited on the floor. It looks very much like a dropping when it first comes out, but this one has had some wind and some rain on it, and so is washing out the bits and pieces. Now, I know it's regurgitation and not feces because you can see how sharp that bone fragment is. Have a look at that. Have a look at these sharp edges. If it had passed through the digestive tract, it would be softened up, and you'd have far less of these big fragments. So I know that this is a regurgitation of some poor impala. This is an impala hoof, just one of the two hooves. Looks like a pretty big one as well. That was then coughed up after it was swallowed pretty much whole. And this is what is left after all of that. And then the lion just moved on with its day. Quite cool, hey? I quite like looking at things like this and all of that, so good. Now, Giraffe Girl, you say Safari CSI. I must agree with you there that most of the time, actually, it is a little bit like crime scene investigation, where we have to decipher what has been going on from the tracks and the signs in the bush. But this is just one of those nice ones that sort of ties in quite nicely with what you're looking at the moment. We're still on our merry way south, looking for what we thought was some elephant making a noise in this area here. I doubt that they'll be in this open bush. My gut feel tells me that we're just going to need a crest. There in the distance is a marula tree. That is the crest of the hill. We're going to have to go past that tree. Then on the other side there's another depression, an empty stream basically. And there is some good quality vegetation, and I think that's exactly where we're going to be finding these elephant, if it is elephant that we heard, and not just two branches swaying in the breeze from today. It's actually been a lovely morning, to be honest with you. The sunrise this morning, there's this awesome light. This is typical of winter. So you can see this golden grass stretching out into a dry bushveld. This is for me what winter looks like, and just it's the picture that I have in my mind of winter, these crisp mornings, really, really beautiful blue skies. You can have a look at the grade of blue going from a light blue all the way to a darker blue right above us with the brilliantly white clouds. Now, it's atypical to have clouds in winter, I must be honest, but it is giving us a lovely view of that blue sky and then this golden grass. Just really nice, actually. It's one of those scenes that'll stick with you, you know, and you'll remember when everything is green and vibrant and lovely again in summertime. I can see these game paths are starting to get used a lot now as well. Now come and have a look here. You'll see here that if I show you this patch of ground versus this patch of ground, they are almost identical. But here we have a pathway that is very disturbed. And on that pathway you can see a whole bunch of different types of tracks. We've got impala, we've got duiker, we've got mongoose. What else have we got going across here? Waterbuck, genet. Yeah, that's what we've got going across here in this particular sense, or in this particular place. And these pathways are now leading from water points, for the most part, to feeding areas. So it'll be like the branches of a tree. If here was a water point, for instance, we're looking down at a map, then to the water point will be a very well used game path, and then it'll start to branch out into feeding areas that then crisscross the bush in all different places. So if you were stuck out in the bush, if you were lost, the way to get to water points, which are obviously, even from a human settlement point of view, if you were lost, this is where you'd want to get to, where there's most likely going to be human settlement. You'll follow these game paths towards convergences. So where two smaller paths join one another onto a bigger path, you'll follow that. And where two big paths join into an even bigger path, you'll follow that. And eventually you'll get to a water point. And there you just sit. And at that water point, you just sit and you listen. And a friend of mine once who said, when he was working in the army, what they were taught was to sit for 1 hour. It says no human is capable of making noise no human is capable of not making noise for longer than an hour. And he says if you just sit here, you'd be surprised at what you could hear in the general vicinity, and then he'd know there was a settlement, and then he could either avoid it or he could go to it. But that's basically a survival bush skill 101. And one of these bush paths is what we're talking about. So this is what you'd follow. So to give you a demonstration, let's follow one of these paths a little bit. So you can see how easy it is to follow this over, I don't know, anything else. And let's see where it goes. So here it splits. So there we've got a bush path there, and we've got a bush path there. I don't know if you can see, so here's a bush path here, and here's a bush path here. So that's a divergent bush path. So to find water, we actually have to go this way, because this is where one path, a smaller path and another path meet, and the bigger path is this way. Have a look. The bigger path is through there. So that's where you'd go to find water. All right, you're off to Byron.
We're playing around Central this morning.
You were close, eh?
Lions rested for a brief moment, but they have just got up and they are moving again. Well, the lionesses are. I'm just trying to have a look, waiting for these young males to get up, just see exactly. Those are two lionesses that moved off there. And this looks like two young males over here. A bit difficult to see through the long grass at the moment. But they're settling down, which is interesting. I thought they'd be moving around. We have noticed little blood blotches on them, on their necks, on their heads. So I wonder if they didn't make a kill earlier. Possibly something small. Their bellies didn't look really big. There's another one is coming through. Let's just see. I wonder if this isn't their Torchwood pride. I do apologize for getting everyone's hopes up. I just saw a number of lions that looked like the Nkuhumas. Oh, that's such a beautiful view. Wow. But we'll just double check and make sure. See those sharp claws. So, another lioness here. James apparently agrees that because James just saw tracks of a big pride crossing in from Torchwood, and he thinks this is possibly the pride that crossed through. So this is most likely this Torchwood pride. It's a beautiful morning. It's starting to warm up really, really nicely now. I do apologize. I didn't hear the name correctly. Zona Small, I think. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry, I do apologize. But you asked if the lion's tails, the male's tails, are different from the female's. No, the tails are the same. You'll be able to see the tails very clearly. They will be the same. Those all black tufts on the end, so they are similar. Nothing different with the tails. But with these young males, what we can start seeing is little tufts of hair forming around the throat. You can see that male over there. Look at that. You can see almost it's the start of the mane, really. Excuse me a second. I know there are some other people that are wanting to come in here. Just want to try assist them and get them in. Go ahead, Andrew, go ahead. Yeah, if Andrew, sorry, is that you on Central at the moment? Okay, copy that, John. You can make your way straight down here. Come down towards Central, and just to the east of Gowrie Cutlines. You cross through that big drainage. We're just east and south of Central. Sorry about that. Just helping one of the other guides get in so they can come and see the lions too. No, it sounds like that honey badger's finally moved away from James, but he's got some feathered friends that he'd like to show you.
We do have a feathered friend or two here. We had some finches, or finch-like birds. Oh, it's a green wood hoopoo. Then we had a drongo, then we had some waxbills, we had all sorts here. Naturally, as soon as they heard they were going to be on screen, they all flew away. Flew away. Okay, here are the waxbills. They're around here. We'll just have a quick squiz. And I'll tell you, well, there's one on the edge of that combretum there. There we go. Tiffany, hummingbirds are entirely New World species. In other words, they're only found in the Americas. We don't find them here. We have the evolutionary equivalent, which is known as a sunbird. A very similar long beak, which is used to drink the nectar of flowers, but they don't hover like your hummingbirds do. Lots of birds moving around here, but almost impossible to see. Oh, there's the Melba finch. There we go. Can you see him there?
Yeah.
He's just landed there. Oh, this is gorgeous. If we get him. There he is. Oh, look at that. The green-winged Pytilia. Which, of course, is a stupid name. Melba finch was much better. That is the green-winged Pytilia, everybody. We don't often get him on camera. Very pretty. And that's a twig. Is there another birdie there? Sorry, the camera's having what is known as a freak out. There we are. Well done, Sebastian. That is the fork-tailed drongo. So while we look at the fork-tailed drongo, I must just tell you that the tracks of those lions came straight out of Torchwood, which is the eastern part of Djuma. which is the reserve to the east of Djuma. So it came out of northeastern Torchwood. We've just found their tracks now. And I'm very interested. I've never seen the Talamati or Torchwood prides. I think I may have seen the Torchwood pride once, but I wouldn't know them from a bar of soap. So I'd be very interested to know which pride that is that we have there. Oh, there we go. Marvellous little bird sighting. We're still driving around looking for whatever we can find at this stage. Many of you still talking about the badgers, or the badger, which was very pleasant. We were going to bask in the glory of the badger sighting for a little bit longer, I think, before we panic too much about finding something else. We'll go around to roundabout where Thandi and Tlalamba were, and I was just saying to Seb, we must have missed those lions with the drone by either a few minutes or by a few hundred meters, because they would have been fantastic to find with the thermal drone. And they weren't far from where we were flying. Young Thelma here, you can see her. I'm now stroking her gently because she's been so very good to us. Well done, Thelma. Yes, good girl. No, Emma, I will never claim the Thelma and Louise name because it's a stupid name that I don't want to be known as. I don't think I look like a Louise at all. Louise and I are very different looking. Now, the lions came all the way down here. I think they probably had a drink at Bivosuk Dam, and then they probably turned down to where they are now with Baron. We could not have missed them by much. In fact, when I think about where they are and where we drove this morning, I'm fair convinced that I was so concentrating on getting to this dam before we took off for the second time, we could easily have just missed them lying in front of us. Anyway, that's how it goes with lions. Unless this is a different pride entirely. That would be turn up for the books. We're doing one last foray towards the waterhole, just because we did have elephants around here in this area, and then we're going to go down perhaps towards where we think Thandi might be. Thandi, a 13-year-old female leopard, if you have just joined us. Nobody's also been to the south of the reserve at all today, so maybe we'll do that. Okay, before we get to the waterhole, let's go across to Stefan Winterboer and his, well, they're not very large, but they're fairly wide feet, elephant. Still with us?
My really wide feet. I thought I was terrible at linking, which I am, absolutely, but that was probably worse than than what I could have managed to do. We're still following this game path along the same sort of lines that Byron was just talking about now, about the waterhole. Remember when I said you're converging game paths, the smaller ones into bigger ones of what you follow? They will then take you to watering holes. Watering holes in terms of survival means settlements, but in our particular case here where we're looking for animals, watering holes is where animals will be making their way to in the dry season because there is very little surface water available everywhere else. So it's a good thing to walk towards these water holes and to see what activity has gone on around there. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing with this pathway. And you can see the bush is getting thicker and thicker, but you can absolutely see this pathway. That is made not by people, it's made by animals. And have a look at this. Have a look at how well this has been used. Look at every time an animal walks past, they are polishing up this stick. Isn't that amazing? Hey, David? So every time an animal walks past here, they're polishing up that stick. You can see where the mud has washed off. So we know we're getting close when there's mud on branches. Let's keep on going. Now, trees like this are an obvious scratching post for elephant or anything, and I'm expecting the fact that we're going to see mud and things here as well. And you can see all the way up where elephants have stopped and scratched. That's mud. This is mud. Bits and pieces of mud. There's mud stuck between the bark. So this is elephant height, and what elephant would be using to scratch themselves with after they've gone for. So we're not far away from this wallow. It could be as much as 1 kilometer from here, but nevertheless, I'm expecting there to be a pan or something close by. Zonisma, how do animals stay warm during the winter is your question. There's a couple of different ways that they stay warm, to be honest with you. The larger animals don't need to really worry about it. They've got the bulk to retain enough body heat. They're just lying in an area outside of the wind or lying together is enough to retain that heat. The smaller animals, the animals that have the most to lose from exposure, tend to be in thickets or underground or in cover. So they build a nest, they spin a web, they dig a hole, they live in a cave, and that's what they basically do to stay warm. You find things like bee eaters, for instance. Little bee eaters will cluster together on branches and be together. Dwarf mongoose will live together in a hole in a termite mound. The little cub, the little leopard cub that you had a look at this morning, if you were lucky enough to have a look at it this morning, was lying on top of a termite mound and was lying on top of a vent of a termite mound where hot air puffs up from underground around 30 degrees centigrade, and so was warmed up by this warm air. Yeah, that's about that. It's not from a fat layer like whales or from walruses are, to be honest with you. The animals out here do not have the luxury of having a lot of fat on their bodies, or they can't produce blubber, for that matter of fact. So they have to use mechanical means to stay warm. All right, talking about lions in the sun, let's go and see what they're up to.
Now these lions have just got up and are starting to move. Now, I have identified 5 females and 2 young males. So that's the 7 that we've got. The one young male is definitely older than the other one. The one is probably a few months younger. The 2 young males and then the 5 females. Now, they are moving, so I'm going to try to stay with them. Hold on, because I don't want to lose them through the drainage line. Let's see which direction they go. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is possibly the Torchwood Pride. The 5 females. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm a little confused because Laura says as of what was it, last year, the Torchwood Pride had 7 lionesses and 10 youngsters. So I'm not sure then which lions these are. But again, you know, I always say this, it's just wonderful to see lions. Yes, it's nice to know exactly which pride it is, and we will work it out. But don't forget, people, it's wild lions. It's amazing to see. It's exciting. So, and we're getting to follow them. They're moving down through this drainage line, and we'll try our best to stick with them. Excuse me a second. I just want to radio one of the other guides. Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead. Negative, probably about 50 meters south of Central. But these animals are now mobile down towards a drainage line in a westerly direction. Yeah, affirmative, affirm. Sorry, they just got mobile now again. But yeah, come back towards the drainage and you'll see. Just keep looking south. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, just trying to get these other guides in here quickly. And make sure we stay with these lines. Now, I just want to have a look and see if they've seen anything through here. Now, what these lines will be doing is as they are moving... Oh, wait, they have seen something. One of the lionesses is stalking off. As I said, what they would be doing is now trying to scan this drainage line very, very carefully to see if there's any potential prey. Now, they've fixed on something in front of us. I can't see what it is yet. Let's have a look. I'm going to scan. I can't see anything just yet. Just trying to work out exactly, but it's amazing. The rest of the pride have stopped. They've gone down. Two of these lines are very focused. Have a look at that. Scanning carefully through the drainage line, and one line is peeled off to the side. Now, sometimes what happens is lines will work together. One will peel around and try and chase whatever prey it is that they've seen towards the pride, and the pride can then ambush them and potentially hunt them. So let's have a look. This is really interesting. I still cannot see anything in front of us in the thicket. Just to give you an idea, some animals they might be looking for, possibly a nyala or bushbuck, that like moving through these dense drainage lines. It's amazing how good their eyesight is to be able to see and distinguish between any little bit of movement that is going on through the thick bush. I mean, you can see how thick it is there. We can't see anything currently. Safari Wild, man, you say they look so focused. They do. Just have a look. It's incredible to see their focus. The intense stare into the bush while they're looking to see what prey is possibly down there. I'm keeping quiet so we can listen out. And just see if we pick up on any movement in the bush in front of us. This is very exciting, but so far, nothing yet that we can see. What I find fascinating, and it's something that we do touch on from time to time, but is the communication between these lions without making a sound, just pure body language. Hold on, I thought I saw some movement. I'm just scanning again. Hold on, let's just see. But as I was saying, the communication, the body language, understanding each other, really, really working as a team. I can hear another vehicle trying to make their way in through there. did think I saw some movement, possibly impala moving through the back, but quite a way in, so a lot further than I expected. Let's just sit tight for a few more minutes. Now, I know a lot of you are enjoying these lions. And they are beautiful. They do look like they're in good condition. As I said, it's so nice to see lions and follow them, especially on mornings like this when it's cool. You know there's a good opportunity, good chance that they may potentially hunt. So this is wonderful. So glad we got to find them and spend a bit of time with them. Okay, they all seem to be moving. I'm going to move briefly, I think. Well, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm just... Every now and then I think I pick up on a bit of movement or something. No. Mario, you said happy Feline Friday. Yes, indeed. A lot of you enjoy Feline Friday. And it's great because, I mean, we haven't seen lions for a while, I think, from the sounds of things. So this is really wonderful. Still stalking. Have a look. Still stalking around. Alright, I'm going to try and move. Give me a second. Let's try and move down a little bit. Sorry, Emma. Did Carol ask if they surround their prey? Yeah, so Carol, they not always. You see there are a few dotted around here. Hold on a second. I just want to see if we can just work out what they're looking at. Hold on, I'm just trying to get into a nice position here. It's a bit tricky. There's a lot of fallen over trees, so it's not easy to move through these drainage lines. So Carol, what these lions would do is not always necessarily just surround their prey. What they try and do is maybe flank their prey and chase the prey back towards the pride, so that the rest of the pride can then try and hunt whatever it is that they have seen. Other times, what they do is, hold on a second. Can you see one, Jandre? On the other side. Ah, there we go. Can you see that one there? So they are spread out at the moment. So Carol, the other thing that these lions will do is stalk right up to their prey. So just stalk directly towards them, try get close, and then ambush. But what generally works for the lions is trying to flank their prey, chase it towards the rest of the pride. Now, I still have not seen anything moving through this drainage line, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. Often in situations like this, it's just a waiting game, just being very, very patient. Now, we've had a lot of luck this morning already. James was seriously lucky with that honey badger, so maybe some luck rubs off on us. Well, I mean, we were lucky to find the lions. That's one treat. But to see them potentially hunting, that would be wonderful. And Judy, I must be honest, there isn't really a specific time of year lions breed. I've seen lions breed throughout the year and mate throughout the year. It all depends when the females come into estrus, when last they had cubs, and obviously if there are big dominant males around. That all helps. Now that lion's just gone and laid down. Just trying to see how we can get through here now. It's actually not easy at all. This drainage line's making it a bit difficult for us. But we'll try and find a little spot to get through. Hold on. I'm going to move a little bit. Wait, I see. Alright, I'm going to get into a better position. Just have a look which way these lions are moving and try and position ourselves. But let's go back across to James, who is still out on drive and also looking for animals. Let's find out what he's doing.
Yes, one must be out on the drive for animals when you are supposed to be being paid to look for animals out on the drive. That's what we're doing. We found some tracks of a male leopard on the northern boundary, and initially I thought, well, there must be more lion tracks, but they're not. They're just very big male leopard tracks. Now lost them, and so we're just having a little squiz around here to see if they don't pitch up. We lost them at the drainage line that those lions are on. So he could have gone down there and decided that he would choose discretion as a better part of valor and disappear from that area. Or he could have gone north into Beefle's Hook. So we'll just do a little foray onto the northern boundary. We're on the sort of fire break area now. Just going to cross over here. I don't see the tracks there. So we'll just go across this little fire break clearing. This in theory should stop a fire, this area here. It would have to be a particularly unenthusiastic fire for it to be stopped by this. I think they'll probably have to mow it or burn it at some stage, as we are in for a big fire season this year, I suspect. Yes, it certainly would, Emma, be a big job to mow all of this grass. I think it will probably be burned rather than mown. Just cross over here. Oh, here he is. No, that's a hyena. Right, we're on the northern boundary now. Let's see what we can come up with here. I think that vehicle in front of us managed to see the tracks there on the road as well, so I'm not sure where he's gone. Otherwise, we did see an elephant since I last saw you. Unfortunately, he disappeared into a thick bush into which we could not go. And so now we have not had any animals since then. Which has made us very sad in our hearts. Then we found these leopard tracks. But yes, that's very true. As Emma says, we really should be nothing but grateful for today, given that honey badger. Just going to ease down into this drainage system. We should maintain signal here. Well, love, hope, faith, that's a difficult one to answer because technically speaking I'm not a safari guide because of course I don't take people on safari anymore. I do this, so I don't physically have people on the back of the car with me. I didn't enjoy safari guiding very much, to tell you the honest truth. I found it exhausting. The one-on-one interaction with other human beings I found very difficult indeed, as I'm fairly introverted. So the favourite part of the job is that I get to share it with people interested. So we have...
Oh, we've just seen these lines again. They're still moving. We did hear something run through... Oh, hold on a second. This is a bit tricky. We did hear something run through the trees. through the bushes, but can't see anything. Again, it's so thick and it's very, very difficult to get through here. This is exciting. Let's have a look, let's have a look. Now, I can't see. Oh, there's impala running, hold on. Oh, wow, those lions were so close. Off they go. Impala running through the distance. Out of the drainage line. Yeah, I think these lions... They're chasing. Hold on, I'm going to try to squeeze through here quickly. Oh. Hold on. I'm trying to get through here quickly. They're still chasing this impala. I think they've just missed, unfortunately. They're just up to the top here. But these impala are running all over the show. There's a nyala too. There's a line off to our right. Just trying to listen out. In situations like this, if they're all scattered and they're moving around, it's easy just to listen for a second. I don't think there's been a kill just yet. There's one line off to our right. There we go. See, this whole pride is split up completely. They were chasing different animals. I think Genre saw an inyala. We saw a number of impala running through. So all these animals have split up. There were lions going that way, lions going this way. It's all happening here at the moment. That was really exciting. But I don't think they were successful. Let's quickly... Just going to wait. Sorry, people are just taking photos. I see there's a line running back through there. There we go. Off to the left, Chandra. That might be a better view. There we go. You see, these lines are all over the show at the moment. That's a beautiful view. Look at that. Isn't that magnificent? See, and that's the way it goes sometimes. These lines split up to try and work out where the prey is going to potentially run. They try and chase them towards the other lions. But unfortunately, they were not successful this morning. Well, not yet, anyway. They may try again. But they obviously saw some inyala and impala through here. That's wonderful. What I think will happen is this pride will meet up again, come together, greet, basically acknowledge each other. They'll rub up against each other. We'll have a look and see. Hold on a second. I'm just going to move the vehicle. Wasn't that exciting? So close. Lions, impala, everything running all over the show. But it just shows you they're not always successful. Not always successful. Just trying to see. Okay, let's go through here. Let's have a look what happens this side. There we go. There's the pride. See, so they've missed, unfortunately, and now I wonder if they decide to make their way towards water or possibly just move down and rest for the day, and then maybe later try to find some water. And you know what, even though there were little bits or a few blotches of blood on them, it doesn't look like they've fed very recently. They do look hungry, and that's possibly why they are so intent on hunting. We're going to stick with them for a while. Let's go across to Steph and find out how the bushwalk is going.
Bushwalk is going fine, thank you very much. All is well, and we're having a wonderful morning actually, walking around here in the wind and in the golden grass, and I thought that I'd come and visit one of my favorite greenthorn trees and just give it a bit of a hug. You know, it's always a good thing to give a tree a hug when you can, especially something like this. It's a nice big old greenthorn tree, and they are quite rare. These trees don't occur in any great numbers outside of protected areas in South Africa, and it's always a good thing to come and say hello and well done to these ones. You know, make lots of babies. That's what you want to give them. But it also gives me an opportunity to talk a little bit more about a topic that we touched on briefly the last time you were with me, about how animals stay warm here. Now, have a look at the base of this tree, and you'll notice that it's been excavated by, I still don't know what, but definitely probably a rodent of some sorts, not something big, and they are digging tunnels all the way around here, digging up the grass in their haste to get underground, and all the way around, 360 degrees around this particular tree, they've excavated themselves some tunnels, and that's pretty much the only thing that I can think of is a rodent just staying warm, coming out of the grasslands, digging underneath the tree and using it to get out of the harsh wind and the cold weather that is associated with this recent spate of chilliness. And yeah, quite nice. This tree, incidentally, one of the reasons why it's so rare outside of the national parks is that the bark is harvested as a wash, a body wash, a revitalizing body wash. And the traditional belief is that if you were going to apply for a job and obviously go for a job interview, that you wash yourself with the bark of this tree. It leaves your skin feeling fairly tingly, and you end up feeling bright and tingly and fresh, and that'll make you stick out from the competition. So the traditional belief is that you have a bath made from the bark of this tree. The bark of this tree, incidentally, contains a bunch of saponins, which is a soap-making, it's a soap compound. And so you froth this up in your bath, and then you wash it. Your skin feels nice and clean and tingly. You end up shining a lot, or feeling like you're shining. You're confident, and that obviously will be portrayed in your job interview, and you'll stick out amongst the competition, and you're more likely to get a job. But because of that, and because of the high unemployment and the high population numbers in the urban areas looking for jobs, these trees are becoming rarer and rarer because they're just being harvested to the point of extinction outside of the game reserve. So nice to know these stories. Good to protect these trees. This is a greenthorn, and obviously we're looking after them as much as we can. All right, you're going to go to Byron.
Now have a look. While we're following lions, there's still a lot of interesting creatures to spot, and Jean-Andre managed to spot this little African barred owlet. That's the African barred owlet. Look at that, beautiful, just catching a bit of sun there, probably warming up. Looks like it's having a bit of a snooze. That is beautiful. You all know how much I love seeing these little owls. Yeah, Emma's saying maybe the owl's tired from all that lion excitement, watching these lions chasing impala and that all over the show. Now they've moved up out of this drainage line a little bit. Too far. We'll see if we can get another view of them. Can you see them there, Jean-Andre? Just, yeah. Possibly, I'm not sure. You know, it is still very, very cool. So these lions may indeed continue to move around, and they may still try and hunt. So we'll stick with them for as long as we can, just until the end of the show, and then see where they go. Possibly try and find them again this afternoon. They should be around, so we can then get a good view of them. That's a lovely little view of them just lying together. Can you see through there, Chandra? Beverly, do we have to do a special driving course for driving out here? You don't really have to, but I think it definitely does help if you do, as a guide. If you, I think if you stay, there's a little upset Franklin, but if you stay in the bush and you do these game drives or safari drives every day, if you are driving off-road, it does definitely help. I'm just trying to think now. Another vehicle's gone around to the other side. I don't want to get into their picture. I think we're right here for now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move around and just see if we can get one more view of all their faces. They seem to be facing the other way. So let's just go around quickly and try and get a position on the other side. Before we leave them, it looks like they're starting to settle down now. So possibly spend the day resting around here, and it might be a good place to look for them this afternoon. Oh, now, Michael, you say, or you're asking which animal has a better sense of smell, a lion or impala? Oh, Michael, I must be honest, that's a little bit difficult to answer, I think, because both animals have got really incredible senses, both eyesight and smell. Chandra, is that all right for you? Let's just have a look. There we go. Get one more view of their faces. So I'm trying to think, I've seen impala, their sense of smell is incredible. They can pick up on the scent of a predator or something walking nearby very, very easily. But lions also have a very acute sense of smell. They can pick up on the scent of prey. They can also pick up on the scent of other lions that have walked in the area or that are nearby. So both species of animals, very, very good sense of smell. That's lovely. Nice little view of them before we leave them. Some nice excitement this morning. There's been a lot going on. It was wonderful, starting with the young leopard that we found with the FLIR camera in the dark, which was really amazing. Then James and his honey badger, which I'm very jealous about, and then lions and watching them try and stalk and hunt. All right, well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave these lions now and slowly make our way out of this little thick area. Let's head back to James and find out what his plan is for the rest of the drive.
My plan for the rest of the drive is to drive home, because we're nearly at the end of the drive. So that is my plan. I didn't finish my conversation with you last time. Sorry about that. I drove into a bad signal area. Basically, I was just saying the best part of my job is living in the bush and being able to engage with people in some ways, I suppose, like a safari guide engages with his guests, but I find it far more entertaining talking to you guys who, well, we have proper conversations. You don't ask the same questions all the time, and because there's so many of you watching, it means that we're always inevitably going to talk about something interesting. There you go. That's the end of my conversation on my favorite parts of doing this job, whatever its designation might actually be. Some people call it presenting, some people call it safari guiding. I think it's probably somewhere in between. Look at that, Sebastian. It's our last animal for the morning. A lady giraffe. Pretty lady giraffe there. naturally eating bushes that you and I wouldn't be seen, well, what you and I wouldn't try and plant in our own gardens. They're so thorny. Beautiful eyelashes, as Emma is pointing out. Yes, they do have magnificent eyelashes. Hello, my dear. Lucky you didn't see those lions. They seem to be very, very hungry. You wouldn't want to come across hungry lions. Right, we have 2.5 minutes left of the drive. I think we'll stay with these chaps unless Baron's lions jump up and whack something in the interim. Now, yesterday I said there was going to be a surprise on this afternoon's drive. A surprise on this afternoon's drive. That surprise is probably going to be deferred to tomorrow morning. So please, when there is no surprise on this afternoon's drive, I don't want you to all be very disappointed and wail and gnash your teeth together. The surprise will probably be tomorrow morning. It's not an enormous surprise, but it is a nice surprise. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You see, she's also quite interested in the surprise, but not overwhelmingly interested in the surprise, and that's exactly how we should be about the surprise that I'm talking about. She's going off into the bushes there. Look how beautifully coloured she is for the winter bush. And I'm convinced that most animals out here have coloration largely for the winter bushveld as opposed to the summer. Because in summer you can just hide behind things. You don't necessarily have to disguise yourself at all. Now, Emma, don't forget to roll the credits in exactly 10 seconds. It's round about now. Go. Push them. Roll credits. There we go. She's rolling credits, everybody. She should be. If there are no credits on the screen, this drive is going to be longer than normal, but I think there are credits. That's excellent. Good. So, well, we will see you this afternoon at, what time? 3 o'clock. Until then, stay safe and happy wherever you happen to be in the world. Thank you very much for talking us throughout the course of the show, and I hope tomorrow morning we'll have the full thermal show. Bye-bye.